Good evening and welcome to Sunset News. I am Diana Master, bringing you news, community stories, weather, economic news and so much more this Sunday evening. Let's get straight into tonight's news. The Namibia Water Corporation hosted a groundbreaking ceremony on Friday to mark the Phase 3 replacement of the Kiesep Collector 2 Schwarzekop-Swakopmund pipeline. The entire length of the water supply pipeline starting from Collector 2 to Swakopmund spans about 80 kilometers. The majority of this pipeline, built in the 1970s, has been replaced due to age-related water losses and breaks. Only 18 kilometers remain to be replaced. Phase 3 of the project involves a 10-kilometer stretch from Collector 2 to Collector 1, and work has already begun. According to the Minister of Agriculture, Water and Land Reform, Carl Schlettwein, this project makes it possible for a component to be put in place that integrates water sources supplying Swakopmund and Walvis Bay. Swakopmund is supplied by Omdel and Walvis Bay is supplied from the Kiesep. When the Kiesep floods and our system fails, Walvis Bay runs dry. When Omdel is over-abstracted, water is rationed, Schlettwein said. This collector pipe is part of the project that connects the Kiesep resource with the Omdel resource so that we can supply water from Omdel to Walvis Bay and reduce the risk of a failing system in Kiesep and vice versa. It allows for Swakopmund to be supplied with Kiesep water to relieve the stress on the Omdel to avoid rationing or running dry. The pipeline, constructed about 1 kilometer from Utuseb, 45 kilometers outside Walvis Bay, is one of the communities that did not have access to water before this project. According to the minister, Namibia stands out as one of the few African countries where 87% of the population has access to safe drinking water. He added that securing water for the coastal areas of Namibia is a challenging task. Now, EU Ambassador to Namibia Anna Beatrice Martins inaugurated the first ever waste buyback center in Windhoek in partnership with the city of Windhoek and the German city of Bremen in Katutura. The center will enable residents to earn income by collecting and selling recyclable materials and will be operational by the end of May, according to city officials. Have a look.
Moment as we gather for the inauguration of the Waste Buyback Center, established under EU-funded project Improving Solid Waste Management in Windhoek. The 44 million NUT EU-funded project was launched 4 years ago in partnership with the cities of Windhoek and Bremen. It has several objectives, but at the core of it, it is about circular economy. The Waste Buyback Center is the first of its kind in Namibia to process waste for resale as raw material, thus reducing waste and at the same time promoting recycling in bringing revenue to community members. With this project, we support Namibia in its efforts to shift towards more sustainable models of recycling waste, transforming waste into new products that have a purpose. The benefits that come with this new model of managing waste is the mitigation of harmful environmental effects, the generation of value and the enhancement of environmental awareness. It has been a long journey from the groundbreaking ceremony here in October 2022 to today's inauguration of the center. The project has achieved notable milestones thanks to the dedication of all stakeholders involved, and many of them here today.
Now, Home Affairs Minister Albert Kawana said policemen and women deserve proper accommodation to ensure that they can execute their duties properly. Kawana made these remarks at the official inauguration of a new police station in Ndola, Ohangwena region on Friday. The construction of this project, inclusive of the procurement of the vehicles, cost $42,582,108 Namibian dollars. He said it is for this very reason that it has become standard procedure whenever police stations are built that they include barracks for both male and female. Adequate accommodation for men and women in uniform has become topical. The police deserve proper accommodation. The station will also be equipped with 2 vehicles for members to effectively respond to the community's complaints, Kawana said. He thanked the Inspector General of the Namibian Police, Joseph Shikongo, for his commitment in ensuring that adequate police facilities are constructed across the country. Kawana added that having a police station in the area will undoubtedly ensure that the officers execute their mandate by bringing services closer to the people. He added that it is also pivotal that the force continues to optimally utilize and deploy the necessary resources to where they will make meaningful impact in line with its constitutional obligations. He encouraged the officers who will be deployed at the station to establish good networks and relations with the community that they'll be serving. Criminals are not alien species. They are part and parcel of the community. It is for this reason that the community is urged to work with police, Kawana said. The police station consists of a charge office, a radio room, one server room, an armory or record room, and a police cell block with 3 cells and a doctor's consulting room. The police barracks comprise 2 two-bedroom semi-detached units and 2 blocks of 14 rooms. Now, the Central Procurement Board of Namibia has condemned allegations that its recruitment process to appoint a new CEO was conducted unfairly. It was previously reported that Finance and Public Enterprises Minister Ipumbu Shimi has been instructed to revisit the recruitment process after Cabinet raised questions about how Idi Itope was picked for the job. Shimi last month presented Itope, the Namibia Revenue Agency's head of domestic tax, for Cabinet approval. CPBN Manager for Stakeholder Engagement Johanna Kambala said that the allegations are a misrepresentation of facts and is purely malicious, with the intent to cast doubt on the integrity and the credibility of the recruitment process. This is further aimed at causing harm to the image and reputation of the CPBN. She said that the position in question was advertised for the first time in print media and on CPBN's website on 21 April 2023, and that the recruitment process was facilitated by an independent recruiting agency. According to Kambala, to ensure the effectiveness of the recruitment process, the interview panel consisted of 5 members from a diverse background. She said in total 5 candidates participated in the interview process, and according to her, the recruitment process consisted of various phases, which included panel interviews, which contribute to 55% weight of the total score, and individual presentation contributing 25% to their score. After these scores were subsequently used to determine the top 3 candidates who progressed to the next phase of the recruitment process, which is a psychometric assessment. The 3 were Itope, Calvin Muniswaswa, and Michael Umavindu. Kambala said that the last phase of the recruitment process consisted of the psychometric assessment, contributing 20% weight towards the total score. Sharing the scores from all of these phases, Kambala stated that it is evident that the candidate who emerged as the highest scoring candidate after all 3 phases of the recruitment process was Itope. She said that transparency and good corporate governance are fundamental principles that play a crucial role in ensuring a fair and effective recruitment process. That brings us to the end of our top stories. Now, after the break, we get into economic news, and tonight we take a look at developing oil and gas resources in the Orange Basin that are likely to be challenging, according to consulting firm Wood Mackenzie. We get into the full details right after this.
Welcome to What's Cooking, where culinary passion meets expert insights.
Somebody must really want to cook and want to cook good food.
Immerse yourself in the bustling world of professional kitchens as top chefs create mouthwatering dishes. Join us for in-depth interviews as our host explores the experiences and expertise of our guest chefs. Don't miss out. Tune in to What's Cooking on NTV every Friday at 2100 hours and let the culinary adventure begin.
Getting into our economic news, consulting firm Wood Mackenzie says developing oil and gas resources in the Orange Basin is likely to be challenging owing to the ultra-deep water locations of Namibia's newly discovered oil wells. The finding is contained in a report on the country, which also projects that Namibia can secure as much as $4 billion in investment to extract its oil and gas resources. At a water depth greater than 2,000 meters and reservoir depth of 6,000 meters, exploiting these fields will push the boundaries of industry capabilities. Issues at the extreme depth include water currents, low temperatures, and temperature gradients, the report said. Placing and maintaining subsea equipment, maintaining pressure in umbilicals, and flow assurance will all be big challenges, it noted. As a result, innovative solutions and high specification equipment will be needed, adding to development costs, the report added. While there was still uncertainty about how the fields may be developed, modeling by Wood Mackenzie showed that Namibia may be able to produce oil and gas resources at between $40 and $60 per barrel. There is still so much uncertainty around how fields could be developed in terms of design, concept, timing, phases, production levels, and how gas is handled or monetized. However, our modeling suggests that at $60 per barrel, project economics should be quite robust. In our base case analysis, net present value remains positive at prices as low as $40 per barrel, the report said. According to Wood Mackenzie, given the likely size of the opportunity, opportunity. Scale of upstream investment will be unprecedented for the country, reaching $4 billion per year in the first half of the next decade. That's it for economic news. Now we'll take a look at the economic indicators. The Namibian dollar trades at 23.44 against the British pound, 20.06 to the euro, 18.86 against the US dollar, and 2 Namibian dollars and 61 cents buys you 1 Chinese yuan. All commodities are down save for copper, which took an upturn of 1.25%, now trading at $4.29 per barrel. After the break, we bring you our story of the day.
Connection. It's in the human touch, the feeling of belonging. It inspires us and empowers us, creates clarity from complexity. It starts new conversations, unlocks the power of advice, and makes an impact on your life. At Alex Forbes, we pioneer insight to provide you with advice that connects your decisions of today to your impact tomorrow.
And now getting into our story of the day. The Forum of German-Speaking Namibians and Swakopmunda Gesprächskreis, in partnership with the Konrad Adenauer Stiftung Namibia Angola office, hosted a one-day symposium in Swakopmund focused on challenges to Namibia's democracy. Chairperson of the Forum of German-Speaking Namibians, Harold Hecht, did the official opening, while Dr. John Nakuta, the media ombudsman, discussed whether Namibia's democracy is under siege. Toivan Jabela, the editor of Namibian Sun newspaper, also chimed in on the discussion. Have a look.
Industrialization may finally become a reality now based on latest developments in the oil, gas, green hydrogen, lithium and uranium sectors. Can we, however, take the prevailing peace, harmony and political stability for granted, given the continued prevailing social injustices which are increasing and not declining? What are the challenges emanating from this for our democracy?
And this is very recent, an international report published by Freedom House in the World 2024. It ranks Namibia very high. Out of 100, we scored 77 for political rights. As Harold mentioned, and all the others that spoke also, said that when it comes to the enjoyment of political rights, Namibia scored 31 out of 40. When it comes to the enjoyment of civil liberties, Namibia was scored 46% out of 60. And that gave us that 77 out of 100%. By all standards, very good.
So, press freedom and democracy, how do they correlate? Why do they mentor? Why do they rely on each other? So, press uncovers truth for citizens. We go at length as journalists to say what the hell is going on in this particular thing. Why are things like this? Fish oil. That truth was uncovered or brought to the public domain by the media. Of course, people in government might have known about it, and they sat on that information. Fish oil did not come to the fore because a minister stood up and came to the podium and said, "Oh, listen, everybody, we have a scandal in the country. So much money has been stolen." No, the opposite actually happened. It was the media that picked up this, and it was put in the domain. Press, free press, homes, power, accountable.
Now, a Rwandan woman was expelled from the United States 3 years ago, has been given a life sentence for her role in the country's 1994 genocide. The full report coming up as we get into international news after this short break. Let's get into our international news. A Rwandan woman expelled to her homeland 3 years ago from the United States has been given a life sentence for her role in the country's 1994 genocide. A court in the southern town of Hui found Beatrice Munyenyezi guilty of the charges of murder as a genocide crime, complicity in genocide, incitement to commit genocide, and complicity in rape. However, she was acquitted on a charge of planning genocide, the Rwandan-based national paper said. The sentencing came days after Rwanda marked 30 years since the genocide carried out by the extremist Hutu regime between April and July of 1994, which left more than 800,000 people dead, mostly Tutsi, but also moderate Hutus, according to a UN tally. Munyenyezi, who was 54, denied all the charges against her, but the court concluded she was guilty of ordering and committing murders and attacks herself, including that of a nun who was raped on her orders. Nicknamed the Commander, the investigation and several witness accounts said that Munyenyezi was supervising a roadblock in Hui, then called Butare, where she identified Tutsis and had them killed, and also encouraged Hutu extremists to rape women. She was deported in April 2021 from the United States after serving a 10-year prison sentence, therefore lying about her involvement in the genocide, as she said about obtaining American citizenship, saying she faced persecution in her own country. The case attracted U.S. attention as her mother-in-law, Pauline Nyiramasuhuko, a former minister in the genocidal regime, and her husband, Asen Shalom Ntaobali, a former local militia leader, were also on trial for genocide crimes at the International Criminal Tribunal for Rwanda in Arusha, Tanzania. They were also sentenced to life in prison in 2011 before their terms were reduced to 47 years on appeal. Police in Iran announced a new crackdown Saturday on women who ignore the country's strict Islamic dress code that makes it compulsory for them to wear headscarves in public. From today, the police in Tehran, as in other provinces, will implement their measures against this sort of violation of the law regarding hijab, the capital's police chief Abbas Ali Mohammadian said live on television. Local media reported that police in the city had launched a campaign codenamed Noor, the Persian word for light, in their efforts to double down on those who break the hijab dress code. The authorities made it mandatory for women to obey the Islamic dress code shortly after the 1979 Islamic Revolution that toppled Iran's Shah. The dress code, known as hijab, makes it mandatory for women to cover their hair and bodies in public places. People who did not pay attention to previous police warnings will be especially warned in the city from today, and legal action will be taken against them, Mohammadian said on Saturday. The crackdown comes just days after Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, in a speech, reiterated that women in the Islamic Republic must obey the dress code regardless of their beliefs. Iran's morality police had kept a low profile since protests erupted following the September 2022 death in custody of Mahsa Amini, a young Kurd who died 3 days after they arrested her for allegedly violating the dress code in Tehran. The morality police were never formally abolished by the authorities. Amini's death triggered months-long demonstrations, which the authorities labeled as riots fomented by foreign governments. On Saturday, Iranian media posted images of the presence of patrol vans from the morality police in central Tehran's Valiasa Square. In an effort to tackle those breaking hijab laws, the authorities have also shut cafes and restaurants where the wearing of the hijab was not respected. Now, 6 people were killed and several others injured, including a 9-month-old baby, when a knife-wielding attacker rampaged through a busy Sydney shopping centre on Saturday. Australian police said multiple people were stabbed by the unidentified assailant, who was tracked down and shot dead by a policewoman who is now hailed as a national hero. The incident occurred at the sprawling Westfield Bondi Junction Mall complex, which was packed with thousands of Saturday afternoon shoppers. New South Wales Police Commissioner Karen Webb said 5 women and 1 man had died. A baby was undergoing emergency surgery. Police said the attacker is believed to be a 40-year-old man who was known to be law enforcement, but he has not yet been formally identified. Webb played down suggestions that the attack could have been an act of terrorism and said it is believed the attacker acted alone. A New South Wales ambulance spokesperson told AFP that 8 patients were taken to various hospitals across Sydney, including the baby, who was taken to the city's children's hospital. Eyewitnesses described a scene of panic, with shoppers scrambling to safety and police trying to secure the area. That brings us to the end of our international news. We'll now take a look at the weather predictions just before we get back with our sports news. Katima Mulilo can expect partly cloudy conditions with maximum temperatures expected to hit 32 degrees Celsius and minimum temperatures expected to hit 17 degrees Celsius. The same can be said for Windhoek, partly cloudy weather conditions, maximum temperatures of 28 degrees, minimum temperatures of 16 degrees. Ariamsvlei can expect clear weather conditions, bright and sunny, maximum temperatures expected to hit up to 29 degrees Celsius, while temperatures might drop to as low as 17 degrees Celsius. Partly cloudy weather can be observed in Walvis Bay, maximum temperatures expected to hit 25 degrees Celsius, but might drop to as low as 17 degrees Celsius. Alright, we'll now take a quick ad break and get back with our sports news. In sports news this evening, 22-year-old Flame Nangolo faced his first professional opponent from outside Namibia this weekend and proved that he is a force to be reckoned with. Nangolo got the job done after 3 rounds against Zimbabwe's Jeremiah Mary during a boxing tournament held on Saturday by AHC Boxing Promotions at the Roman Catholic Hall in Windhoek. The top-class entertainment tournament was hosted to raise money for the boxers. This was AHC's first tournament for 2024 with 7 fights on the card. The highly anticipated Coastal team clash took place on Saturday at Tamariskia Stadium, slashing Dolphins' hopes of securing their first Premier League win for the season. The game ended in a defeat for Simona Storm Dolphins, while FNB Kudus dominated with a final score of 26-0 in their favor. This was the first time in years that the two Coastal clubs, Simona Storm Dolphins and FNB Kudus, took each other on in a derby. Namibia's futsal national team opened their AFCON account with a 5-4 defeat against Mauritania. The goals for Namibia were scored by Ken Salote, Romario Mathis, and George Haikali. The Brave 5 team can still redeem themselves and will be playing Egypt tonight at Prince Moulay Abdallah Stadium in Rabat, Morocco. We're wishing the boys the best of luck. Now in some sad news, Etienne Coetzee, the chairman of the Rio Falcons Rugby Club, along with his 2 sons, Edmundo Coetzee, captain of Rio Falcons Rugby Club, and Ethan Coetzee, passed away in a tragic accident last night, 10 kilometers from Rehoboth to Windhoek. The rugby world also mourns the loss of Greshlin Brewer. We extend our deepest sympathies to the families, friends, and all those affected by this unimaginable tragedy. May their souls rest in peace. I am Diana Master, and this has been Sunset News.